and thought, how hard can the IT business be? And as I think you know, and all those who run MSPs know, it's really tough. And so I quickly learned that, and about 8 months in, we were doing better. We were not losing as much. We had done some things to really turn the ship from a quality of deliverable standpoint, and our sales team right-sized, and some other changes we had to make early on, but we still weren't getting the kind of margins that I expected a business like ours to get. And I was at a conference ironically, I was at a conference in early 2011, maybe CompTIA, and I happened to sit next to Arlen Sorensen. And so Arlen is pretty well known. He started HTG peer groups and ended up selling to ConnectWise. And back in the day, we were not on ConnectWise Manage, and you had to be a member of one of Arlen's groups. And I said, shoot, this peer group concept really sounds good to me. And Arlen said, have you ever met a fellow named Paul Dipple? And I said, no. He said, well, Paul's groups are more agnostic on what products you're using, and why don't you give Paul a call? And I did, and it was really changed the trajectory of our MSP. We went on to, as we benchmarked and joined a peer group, we went on to do an acquisition later that year. A year and a half later, we were acquired. By that time, we were profitable and had turned the corner on the business. We were about a $4.5 million business at that point, 32 employees. And over the years, went on to do a couple more acquisitions. We went on to grow significantly organically. And when I left in 2017 or 2021, we were a $17 million MSP with about 85 employees. And so it was a great ride, and wouldn't have been made possible without us figuring out where we were doing things right and where we were not doing things right, which benchmarking really helped us do.
The one thing I really want to point out to everybody who's listening, and this is a mistake I made as an MSP, the peer groups that are out there, companies like Service Leadership, companies like MSP Alliance, even Vistage and some of the other peer groups, I never felt like I needed them, and it was a mistake. Not associating yourself with other high-level business owners who help to hold you accountable for the things that need to be done and can provide the advice that you don't even know that you need until you get it, is incredibly valuable. And so this is why I'm so excited to talk to Peter today. Peter, why don't you tell us a little bit about Service Leadership and what types of things you offer to MSPs and how embedded you are in the community?
Yeah, sure. So Service Leadership was founded on the premise that Paul Dipple had back 20 years ago, that there was a lack of objective data on the industry's performance, that the surveys that would come out tended to be done by vendors, and they had a specific agenda in mind. And even if that wasn't the case, even when somebody tried to do comparable financials, unless you have a normalized chart of accounts, you're really not comparing apples to apples. And so it just was really hard to get data on any sort of performance benchmarks back in the day. So Service Leadership was born to fill that void. And today, that's still the number one thing that we do. Every quarter, partners from all over the world in 10 different TSP business models, the two largest being MSPs and Product Centric, or VAR, also known. Every quarter, they put their financials and some operational data into our system. And every quarter, we run the data to see who's the best in class. And so our definition of best in class is really, really simple. It's who's the 25% most profitable based on adjusted EBITDA. And so we use that as our determination, because from our standpoint, you can move a lot of things around underneath the rug. And you can move cost from one bucket to another. You can move revenue. You can do a lot of things to make specific parts of your business look really good. but ultimately all of those things come out in the wash. And so, so we look at who's the most profitable. We then go back and we extrapolate over 80 different KPIs, and we look at things like, what are they spending on sales or marketing as a percentage of gross margin? What's their service gross margin, product gross margin? What kind of productivity are they getting out of their service team? What kind of productivity do they get out of their sales engine? And how's their G&A expense? And so we look at all of those things, and we provide, it's an all new online interface where you load your data and then you can view how you compare to yourself, historical performance, and see how you're trending. But you can also compare online and see how you're doing relative to the best in class. So, so you go in every quarter, you put your data in, and every quarter you are able to go in and see how you did. It's really granular. It shows you, and it's easy to follow. We use the red, green, yellow traffic light system to show where you're off or where you're doing well. And for me as a partner, that was every quarter I look forward to getting that data. Even when I intuitively felt like we had a good quarter or a bad quarter, I would learn so much more when I'd see the service leadership report.
That
So,
normalized chart of accounts, by the way, is available for free from the
yep.
service-leadership.com website. And one of the things that I try strongly to preach, and when I work with MSPs, I try and help MSPs understand that they should be ready for a sale in an emergency, and that there are things that they can do every single day as they operate to be ready. And one of those things is to establish that normalized chart of accounts, because it tells a story. If your books don't tell the story of how your company generates value, then they're not doing their job. And the normalized chart of accounts that's proposed by Service Leadership is an excellent start. And they've got a great document online that talks about exactly how to implement it and what's included in each category and why it's done. And this read alone will do more to set you on the right road toward creating value, even if you don't sign up for their services, which I also very, very strongly recommend.